Go ahead, Danielle. Tell her.
Okay, so it's a good way to use old bread, right? So you cut it into chunks, and then you.
So bread's the first ingredient.
What? This is coming from a guy that orders whole pizzas and stuff and eats it by himself. So.
That's true.
So,
Pizza has meat on it, protein,
so
cheese, dairy.
At least I'm not throwing away bread.
Shoveling it into sugar and then into your.
I'll text. The rest.
No, go ahead. Tell her. Okay, tell her.
Okay.
It's actually really good. I just tried some. It's really good. Tell her. Though. Tell her what it is, though.
So you take 2 eggs and you whip those together and you pour it. So you cut up the bread and put it in a big. Pour the eggs over it, and then you put a cinnamon sugar combo. That up so it's all coated, and then you make a quick caramel sauce in the saucepan. So it's butter and brown sugar, and then if you depending on how much you have, like I put mine in a bread pan, but you're supposed to put it in like a
cast iron,
a bunt, and then you pour the caramel sauce over it, and then you bake it anyway, and then you invert it.
and this is it.
And it's beautiful. Delicious.
It's actually really good.
And you can, you can make that. You can also make croutons from your old bread too.
Yeah.
Super useful. Yeah. Delicious, cheesy garlic croutons.
Dude, is there anything better than a good crouton?
Literally one of my favorite. Oh my gosh! I'm just like, why is this salad crap? I forgot the crouton.
Yeah.
You put the croutons in, you're like, the salad is immediately. I literally put 5 croutons in a huge salad, and I'm like, it's automatically chef quality, Michelin 5-star. You did a great job. Delicious.
Dude, I'm not ashamed. I've eaten a bag of croutons before.
It's hard not to. It's hard not to. You're standing there, you don't know what to eat. You see the croutons, you're like,
I'll have
why
2 or
are you so
3.
easy to eat? It's like it's the savory cereal.
Yeah. Yeah, your milk is your ranch.
It's a savory cereal. You should open up that savory cereal.
No, that's what I tell all my girlfriends. This is my name. Savory cereal.
It's a savory cereal.
By the way, I only have one.
All my girlfriends. If he's got like a harem, he's got a harem of girlfriends somewhere.
Listen, girls aren't attracted to bald people.
Croutons
That's all
at
I'm
him.
saying. You can't have a harem of people with bad genes. It just doesn't work out.
Frank, how many of the freaking hero movies are bald dudes?
That are 5'7"?
Chicks love bald dudes.
That doesn't mean chicks love them.
Beautiful women. One of the most beautiful women I ever met.
Demi Moore?
Worked in. She looked like. You know when you meet people that you're like, you should do something like with your. You know, she's tall.
Sell your body.
And she was. Well, no, I'm just saying. You know when you see somebody, you're just like. They did it on Bob's Burgers too. They had this moment where one of the teachers was just, they were like, she's gorgeous, and they were having the conversation, the husband and wife, and they were just like, why is she working here? You know.
Like,
anyway, and she had the same problem. She was like, her boyfriend was shorter than her and bald, and she's like, and he has a huge problem with this, that he's bald, and she's talking to me about it, and I'm just like, why does he care so much? Because from a girl's perspective, we just like, I guess we just don't understand. Because you see, like, who's that guy? Die Hard, bald dude.
Yeah, Bruce Willis.
And did you know Bruce Willis before Die Hard was a romance star on a TV show?
He was on.
Yeah.
He was on one of the daytime soap operas.
No way, dude.
Yes.
No.
Yes, he was. And let me tell you something else. Frank. The poster, the famous poster for Die Hard, where it shows Nakatomi Tower, that wasn't the original one they wanted to put on there. The original one was of Bruce Willis, but everybody, when they saw the poster, laughed because they were like, what are you telling me? Some romance star is going to be this action hero bullshit. They were laughing at it. So they changed the poster to Nakatomi Tower. And only later did they add Bruce Willis to it once they saw that he was being a badass in it.
Dude, he was too.
Anyway, and this lady, she was so upset because she's like, no matter what, he's always going on about how he's bald. And she's like, I can't tell him enough. I love you. I think you're amazingly sexy that you're bald. She's like, there's nothing I can say to him. I'm like, that sucks.
Moonlighting? Is that the series? Bruce Willis and Moonlighting? Yeah, because it's the television series that went on for 4 years.
He was like the sensual, like
Click on it. Click on.
You know what? You kind of see it a little bit in Fifth Element, where he's like real nice to the chick and real soft and stuff. He's like that.
No, I could see it.
And
Bruce
everybody
Willis has
laughed.
a certain charm.
He does.
You know, his
I'm
first
telling
feature
you.
film was called Blind Date. Oh my god. Look at this.
He was a romance guy, and that's why they thought it was so crazy that he was going to be an action star, and then he pulled it off. Did really good.
Really hung on to it there.
He did.
That's me right there. That's my hair. But see, I gave it up, Bruce. And look at me. Look at how successful I am compared to you.
But that's the thing. The thing with life is, yeah, you're gonna have a bunch of other people who have it perfect, or seemingly do, who like they have the perfect looks. They have it. Did you see? Oh my gosh, you know that fucking thing? A lot of people didn't know this. Cool sculpting. Do you ever hearing about that?
Yeah.
Where it's like they freeze the fat on your body, and then the fat dies, and then you lose weight. And so of course people would want to sculpt their bodies to look a certain way, because you could do it only in certain spots, and get the hourglass, whatever you're going for. And it was huge hourglass forever because of the Kardashians. They had like promoted that. So anyway, the problem was there wasn't enough research done into cool sculpting, and so it actually will harden in some people the fat, and the fat will never go away. And now it's even weirder because it's hard, like it's a lump mass of fat wherever they've touched it. And
it's like one of those. It's like one of those tumors that dogs get that are non-cancerous. You guys ever seen those? Yeah. So you just have this ball there. What an idiot.
Yeah. And one of the most famous supermodels, she had done it, and she's older now, but she did it, and she came out and she was like, no one's talking about this, but she's like, my body is literally ruined.
Yeah.
She's like, from doing cool sculpting.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm going to talk about it. Because everybody wants to get fat taken off their body, and she's like, look at me. She's like, I've literally gone to my dermatologist, dropped my robe, and just started bawling because there's nothing we can do about this. And I'm just like, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter how beautiful you are. You could be a supermodel, literally.
Oh, that was your
And you're
point.
still going to get cool sculpting.
Yeah.
It's just like, come on, like there are things there are worse things in the world.
It doesn't really bother me at all being bald. Like occasionally I'll have the, self-conscious thoughts and whatnot, but really it doesn't bother me. I just like talking about it because it's funny. But on a happier note, do you know how many people that I know 3 people that have gotten I don't know if it's laparoscopic surgery. I know the lap band had a problem for a bit. I just heard about that not too long ago, but people have gotten maybe staples in the stomach. They've gotten some sort of surgery, and they were severely overweight, and now they are looking like so thin, and they've been able to keep the weight off. Do you guys remember? I'll cut this name from the podcast. So Danielle, she would be younger than you. She was Victoria's grade.
Younger than you.
Victoria, was she?
Yeah, she was in my grade.
Yeah, she was in Victoria's grade, but she was always just even from a kid. She was severely overweight.
From a kid.
Dude, she got it, and she looks great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I know
That's
2
really
other people.
good.
I know. It's just what's cool to see is that it's moving down to more of just the, us commoners.
Yeah.
But there's certain people that just with their genes, they can't lose weight like other people.
No, and I think it's hormones, man. It's hormones. You don't even know like what they're doing. I honestly think,
just for the record, we are not doctors. Just for the record, we don't know what it is.
But I think it's
Oh, we're leaving this in? Sorry.
And I think it goes back.
I'm talking about it.
I think it goes back to the like what your body, like gut health that you were talking about, but like what your genes.
Please.
What your genes.
She has to hit the desk. She has to make her points.
It's
Do you know? She's not even arguing with anybody.
Except.
And we all agree with her, but she has to.
Is
the way it is. This is the way. Anyway, sorry, it's about your genes.
Put a drum sound, like put a CGI drum, so every time she hits the desk, it's like donk. Like don't even tell me.
It'll be a cowbell. Okay. Is what it'll be.
No, yeah, a cowbell,
dink,
or it'll
dink,
be the
dink.
What's
the triangle.
The tambourine. It's like ching, shing, or maracas.
Yeah. I have some of those upstairs.
Okay, go on.
But it's individualized, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's individualized, and it's how food reacts to your body, and it's.
So if I
well, they know the people
food,
from the potato famine. That is their genes, because they experienced a famine, and then their body wants to hold on to everything.
Apparently, the potato famine, I don't know anything about it. And I listen to Bill Burr's podcast because it's the greatest podcast ever. But it is very, very good. But it's called the Monday Morning Podcast. I would suggest that over this. But a lot of cursing, and he seems misogynistic, but actually he's the
good sweetest man ever.
He's a very sweet man, and he tries to help people so much.
He's a very sweet man.
But
No,
go
get Dad. No, shut the door, please.
What were we just talking about? We were talking about
go eat your monkey bread and shut it.
Go eat your sugar and shut it down. What were we talking about? Why did I bring up Bill Burr? He was talking. He had a point.
Potato famine.
Potato famine. So apparently the potato famine, like Bill Burr was talking to his podcast and said that he had thought that the crops had died because of like they were crop rotating or whatnot. But apparently the British came in and just like took it all and destroyed some and stuff. So no wonder they're pissed at him, man. I mean, I'm sure there's a
hell of a lot more, and we shouldn't talk about it. You can't talk about it.
No, I'm just saying, like, I didn't know that. So
I'm
just
straight
like,
from
oh my God.
the lips of an Irishman himself that he was like, you don't talk about that.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
We buried it.
He was kind of scary. Yeah.
I'm not, it's, the only IRA I get involved in is my individual retirement account. That's all I'm saying. That's all I need.
That's the only IRA I know.
Yep. And I'm happy with that. And you know what? I'm staying out of this one. Trust me, America's in too much bullshit. I don't need to open my big mouth. I'll just talk shit about America. That's all I'm going to do. Because listen, it's our country, right? We can talk shit about it.
That's our God-given right.
It's like our siblings, right? Like I can talk shit about you, but no one else.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I don't care. People can talk shit about America.
That's the easiest way to say it. Like that's what any Irishman who's like, do not talk about this. Just say that's my house. Okay, you talk about my house, my family. You're like, no, that makes sense. Yeah. Because you don't talk about my family. And it's like, you get me. You're like, yeah.
Listen, but just so we are clear, all I said was I didn't realize that the potato famine involved England coming over and doing stuff to it. So that's all. Yeah. And listen, I haven't looked this up, so I don't know that that's true. But if it is, Jesus, man. That is messed up.
Anytime you find out about that, because a lot of things you hear about it in passing, you don't know the information behind it. But as you get older and different, conversations happen, you find this crap out. You're like, those people sabotaged them. They did this for real. That happened. People did that. And you're like, that's awful. That's literally, you knew that was going to have some catastrophic effects and you did it anyway. Yeah. Or you did it because it would. And you're like, we're bad people. It's just not, it's not a good
everybody
time.
Is, man. All I'm saying is Australia, United States, and Canada, what do they all have in common? Fucked over the natives. So anyway, welcome to the podcast, everybody.
They did, though. They really did.
They did. All three have just white people. We're so fucked.
Well, I love how Dave Chappelle talks about it. He's like, yeah, everybody's got problems. Everybody's like, got something that's happened to them or whatever. And he's like, you know who we never talk about though is the Native Americans. And he's like, they're all dead. It's like, yes, they are.
Yeah,
But nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
We're like, there's hardly any. And he's just like, yeah. And then he goes on to make some really good jokes that allows you to deal with that tragedy.
Yeah.
But it's bad. It's bad, guys.
Dude, have you guys seen previews for the movie You People? It's a new movie
No,
on
I've
Netflix.
seen the whole thing.
It's a new thing on Netflix with Jonah Hill. Apparently, the writer of Blackish and Jonah Hill, and I think there was one other person. Nah, they might have wrote it, but then there's another executive producer along with them. But I watched that last night, and it was basically about a white guy and a black girl dating and their families dealing with it and them dealing with it and stuff. But there was elements in it that I thought were really funny, but I just thought they missed a little bit on the writing, and I was like, but there's some really creative things in there too, and I was just like, come on, man, it could have been something. And
So
I don't know,
was
but
it
maybe it's not for me. I don't know, but
movie then?
it's a movie on Netflix, and it's dealing with a lot of cultural and racial issues as well. That it's trying to talk about, but also trying to keep it lighthearted. But I don't know.
I don't know. Go
Right.
on. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, you know who is in it though? Julia Louise Dreyfus. Or Julie?
I
Is it
do
Julie
love
or
her.
Julia?
I thought it was Julia.
Julie Louise. Let me see. No, it's Julia Louise. Julia Louise Dreyfus. But she played the mom of the son, who is basically a mom that tries to be cool and like understanding, but is oblivious to her own comments, basically. But she did such a great job. Yeah. Yep. Basically,
It's kind
her
of like our
character,
mom
but,
a little bit.
but less like powerful.
Yeah.
So it's a slightly different role. But I saw elements of our mom in her where it was basically like
You're like, no.
yeah,
no, don't
please
say it like that,
stop
Mom.
talking. Yes.
I'm saying that.
But her being like just wanting to love people and everything, but just not understanding.
Yeah, she's literally the most loving person that's just saying things and you're like,
yes.
That is Jason's
what we say. We don't
grandma.
say it like that.
Yes. Yeah. Like,
Jason's grandma's like the sweetest person ever, but the words sometimes.
yeah. Because they're from a different time, man. They're just from a different
Yeah.
time. When we get that age, that people are gonna look at us like, "You shut up."
What is wrong with you?
It's like, okay, I am sorry.
Yeah.
I will shut up. You know.
I probably won't. No, not when I'm that age. I'll be like, you know what, screw you. I've been alive long enough. I know my heart. Anyway. No, the craziest thing is, when I was over in Australia, since I was in such a big city over there, and there were so many different nationalities, so everybody was mixing. Like, and it's the same here if you go to a big city. I just never went to a big city in the US. But anyway, I would get offended just that, like, people would say things like this. They would say, I'd worked in the library, and they would be a couple, and I remember specifically one couple where it was an Australian man, a white man, and an obviously Asian woman, and I loved her every time she would come in because she was just the smiliest person you'd ever meet, and she was just so happy. And they had kids, and the kids, you know, all of them were just, it was an awesome family, and they would always come in. And one day, my coworker, the only guy who worked there, he goes, "Oh, they made those good babies." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Because, you know, her genes, her like national, where she's from, mixed with where he's from, they're so separate, so their babies will be attractive." And I was like, do people think along those terms? Like, I was offended that they would think that way. And then I found out that that's a thing people think. They're like, I want to be with, as I've heard I knew a girl who she was like, no, I want to be with a black guy. And I was like, you know, thinking it was a preference of, you know, that's what they're attracted to. But she said for her babies, she wants her babies to be the furthest apart from her, so they will be the most strong, attractive, intelligent, whatever. And I was like, people think that way. They think like along the terms of their children, which makes sense. They want their kids to be strong and stuff, but it offended me to narrow your results to that. I don't know.
My opinion is,
and it's like breeding, you know?
Yeah, it is.
Right. It's very.
It was my turn to talk. I was gonna say a joke. Let's just move on.
Go ahead with your offensive.
It was gonna be gross. I was gonna say, I think you should love whoever you want, and if that happens to be very close to your family, such as a cousin, you should go for it. Yeah. Sometimes
just
you gotta
stay
let
away
me just
from
go.
them. Stay away from that side of the family. Hold on a second.
I'm personally a fan of inbreeding. Have you seen Prince or King? What's his name? Charles. I showed you guys Charles' fingers, right? The king's fingers. What?
Hmm?
Talking about some king's fingers. I don't know.
The King of England, who was the prince.
King's finger?
You seen these little sausages? Have you seen his fingers, Victoria?
Oh, I think he has like some sort of edema, something.
Yeah, he's got little sausage.
That's what I thought when I saw him. I saw what's his face? That guy who was that guy that was
inbreeding.
just Alex Jones, the guy that was sued for a bunch of freaking money for saying that. Yeah. Anyway, I saw his fingers, and the immediate thought that came to my head, this is not my fault. I feel like I am not my thoughts, but the immediate thought that came to my head was like chode.
Ew, what?
Because look at his fingers. Look at his fingers. I mean, that was the first thing that came to my mind. And I was like, what is wrong with me? Jesus.
Why does he get sued?
This is the guy that said Sandy Hook was fake.
He said Sandy Hook was faked.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. You
said
never
the
heard
parents
about this?
were lying, their kids weren't dead.
For a long time, and then his followers would harass the parents.
Yeah.
And they had to move multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is wrong with people.
That's what I'm saying, dude. But he was sued for $1 billion.
Well,
so
that's the funny thing is that he
him.
made all this money off being sensationalist like that, and tons of people are like, why does it matter, freedom of speech and everything? And it's like, okay, there are a number of reasons why it matters, but the funny thing is he says these things just to make money, and then I was like, this is literally the most like on the level case for you get what you like, you get what you were trying to get. You reap what you sow, yes. Because sometimes you hear about someone who's like, they raped 50,000, all the people, they raped them, and then they get sued, and you're like, how does that's not the same. That's not the same. It doesn't feel the same. It doesn't feel like justice. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But this is like the most. He's like says sensationalist stuff that's awful to make money, and literally gets sued for even more money. You're like, yes, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
And
Do you even live with yourself? Is that kind of person?
Why would you say it? Why would you care? Because money. That's literally the only answer.
Yeah. It's
because you want to make money.
It's gross. It's real gross. Anyway, so welcome to the podcast, I guess. Unseasoned reviews.
I love how like when Frank's editing this, he's gonna have to go through so many different moods of welcome to the podcast, because sometimes it's like welcome to the podcast, and then you'll keep going. Anyway, welcome to the podcast.
I like trying it a couple different ways and seeing what works,
Yeah, it's funny.
We went from monkey bread recipe to Sandy Hook. Like, I don't know how we did that.
That's the culture of the United States. Shitty
Called
food
extroverted
and
intuition.
mass shootings. Welcome to the podcast,
We bounce.
everybody.
We are a thought cloud. You don't know where the hell we're gonna be. You don't know. We'll start here. We don't know where we're going, but you're along for the ride. Welcome to the podcast, everybody.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, but seriously, another episode, Unseasoned Reviews. My two alright sisters, they're okay. They're fine. We started a new series. It's called The Way of Shadows is the first book. It's by Brent Weeks himself. I don't know why I said himself,
Night
because
Angel
obviously, Night Angel Trilogy. Very good book. There's going to be 2 more that we're going to read. Let's give you a
How
little.
surprised would you guys be though if like immediately I started turning the camera and I'm like, and Brent Weeks is here with us today. Hi, Brent Weeks. Like,
I'd be
like, ah! I'm like, nailed it. He didn't
I'd
even
be
laugh
like, how
once.
could you do that to me?
Didn't even
Brent
give
Weeks?
himself away.
My
Yeah.
emotional roller coaster ride.
Yeah, you know what would suck is because it's like we don't even know everything that happened, so it would be. I'd want to ask him questions, but also it's like don't give it away.
I want him to be kitty paw and everybody like, like, oh, you
Yeah, we'd have to wait till the
show
after
up
the
all the
third.
time.
Yeah. So nice try. The Way of Shadows, though. Let's give him a quick little teaser of what it is. So this is like the back of the book. For Durzo Blint, assassination is an art, and he is the city's most accomplished artist. For Azoth, survival is precarious, something you never take for granted. As a guild rat, he's grown up in the slums and learned to judge people quickly and to take risks. Risks like apprenticing himself to Durzo Blint. But to be accepted, Azoth must turn his back on his old life and embrace a new identity and name. As Kylar Stern, he must learn to navigate the assassin's world of dangerous politics and strange magics, and cultivate a flair for death. So that's the book. Now, Brent Weeks, I don't really know much about Brent Weeks. This was recommended by Victoria, the weird woman in yellow up there. I almost put her name. Brent Weeks himself, though,
I think it says in the beginning of the book.
I'm done. I'm not reading.
Brent Weeks was born and raised in Montana after getting his paper keys from Hillsdale College. I don't know what paper keys are. Brent started writing on bar napkins.
It's probably like a...
Anyway, Brent started writing on bar napkins, then on lesson plans, then full-time. Eventually, someone paid him for it. Brent lives in Oregon with his wife, Christy. He doesn't own cats or wear a ponytail. There you go. Now you know Brent Weeks.
And he's a redhead. Paper Keys by Urban Dictionary, a diploma or certificate you receive from a post-secondary institution, thus enabling you to get on with your life.
That
and
makes
drive
it's the paper key to the locks of the
society.
No, I get it.
Yeah, whatever. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Anyway, what do you think about it, Brent Weeks? Turn over to Brent Weeks. He's like,
wait, that was him
you know
that
what?
wrote that?
I didn't even write that. No, that's what I was just gonna say. It's his editor is like, you need to put something in here about you. He's like, I don't care what you put, and then he's like, you put that?
I guess that's what we're going with.
I guess Paper Keys is like saying I went to college, but really it wasn't anything. Like I wasn't. I just did it because life expects you to. That's almost what Paper Keys seems like.
No, he needed the keys to the lock to be able to do what he does. That's all he's saying. Like,
yeah,
you can't,
exactly. Like you, but
I can't
you
be a
don't,
librarian tomorrow. I need a paper key to unlock that lock to get through that door to be a librarian.
Exactly. It's required by society, but not necessarily needed.
Well, it shouldn't
You know
be.
That's what I think.
think he's kind of being sarcastic. He's like,
Yeah.
this shouldn't
That's
be. I
exactly
shouldn't
what-
need this.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's what I said, and then you said no.
Oh, I thought you were.
That's
I
what
love
you
when
did.
people make fun of me, but they make themselves look so stupid doing it. You're just like, good job.
But you don't realize
It's gonna be a long
that's you.
podcast.
You just sit
That's
there
you.
like.
All
You
right.
make
Well,
yourself look like an idiot.
You guys,
I don't have to
you
do any
guys,
work over
you
here.
guys laugh, so mission successful. The Way of Shadows, great book, guys. Great book.
Really good. Another good recommendation.
Yep, it was.
Finally. No, I'm just kidding.
And so Victoria said about this book before we started reading it, because we were
Yes.
finishing the 3 body problem. We were actually finishing Death's End, the last book of it. And she was like, guys, I don't know if I just misremembered this, and maybe it's not as good because the 3 body problem was so good. And all the books
It
we've
was
read
so
have been
good.
so good. And
No.
I know that was a
the ones that they know about.
That's wrong.
the ones that they know about.
Yes.
This
not-
was a rough
But we
start.
don't know which ones they know about because Danielle and I don't look at the podcast because we don't want to
They
watch
know
ourselves.
about the Peter Brett series with the with the whatever they're called, the demons. The Demon Cycle series, Nora Roberts series, and the Three Body Problem, and now the Night Angel trilogy. That's what they know about. They don't know about Don Capote.
Or Frankenstein.
Or Frankenstein. It's not been
Frankenstein
released.
is so good, though. We need to redo that.
We're doing Don Capote, too. Is it Don Capote?
No.
Why does that sound wrong?
Quixote.
Don Quixote.
You were being
I couldn't remember. I was like, what is that?
Don Capote.
Like Capote, like I thought you were.
It's Al Capone. Al Capone.
I know.
It's like, about 1930s mafia.
I know. I was like, that'd be hilarious. He's driving in his limousine. It's a shitty one.
Yeah.
Going to kill
he
somebody.
gets a shitty limousine, and his driver doesn't have a license, doesn't know how to drive.
Yeah.
But is really
Doesn't
for
have
the
insurance.
cause. Yes. He goes to
They get pulled
gangster
over by the
meetings.
police. They start fighting the police.
Yeah, the police. Yeah, the police beat them up, but instead of people being upset about the police brutality, they're all for it. They're like, "Good, beat this guy up."
Oh my gosh! How do we get on these topics?
Don Quixote, dude.
Extroverted
Let's
intuition.
keep.
So, Victoria, was it as good as you? Oh, I was saying real quick. You know what? Quiet. I was saying, and I was talking, and I'm speaking, and so what I was quickly going to say was that Victoria didn't know if she misremembered if this book was good, and she was worried about it, and then we all were like, no, very good, slow start, but very good. Sad. It's gonna be sad. Just get ready for them tears. I almost cried at work.
Well, I just want to say though, I remembered that it was going to be a slow burn because, you know, you start reading a book sometimes and you're right into it, and other times it's just like, where is this going? I'm not invested, you know, and it's just taking forever for you to get into it. And this book does that, and I knew that ahead of time. And so when I started reading it again, because it's been like 10 years since I've read it, and when I started reading it again, I was like, it isn't as good as I remembered. But then it's like you hit this point, you don't know it's coming, but you hit this point and you're like, okay, now I need to know. Now I gotta know. And then you keep reading, it gets better and better and better. And then it like rushes along and you want to slam through the books just to figure out what happens. So yeah, it is a slow burner. You're not gonna, you kind of gotta fight a little bit to keep going with it.
Yeah.
Which I feel like the Three Body Problem did start that way too, so I don't know.
Yeah, it was slow. I mean, because it was so much technical data to take in.
It's too much, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'm reading.
So it was slow for me too.
Mm-hmm.
But this book was really good. Sad. Poster right of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think it really grabbed me.
It's real life.
Yeah.
Real life.
Well.
Yeah, it's basically, it's like the most horrible things happening to people, because essentially it's like a sort of medieval times, and the main character Durzo Blint is, like they said, assassins. You can think Assassin's Creed. Azoth is the one that wants to train with him and become an assassin, because Azoth lives in the slums of a city, and he is subjected to the most brutal form of humanity, where he has to steal to survive, but then even to steal, he has to pay his guild, who requires money out of him, or he'll get beat up.
Well, it's like a guild of orphan children,
Yeah.
right? And it's children leading children. So it's like Lord of the Flies type of scenario.
Yeah.
Living in the slums,
Yeah.
just the worst. And his but it gets you immediately, because, dude, Brent Weeks, what he does is, so you got this Azoth guy, right, that's living in the slums and he's trying to provide, but instantly you find out that he is trying to take care of his friend and this little girl. So Azoth, when it started out, is 11 years old. His friend is 11 years old, but he's got this 8-year-old girl with him that can't fend for herself, and she's too young to join the guild. And this 8-year-old girl, she's also a mute. So she's living in the slums and poverty. So Azoth has to get money and so he can get food to actually feed both of them. So instantly you're like, Jesus Christ, thinking about this 8-year-old girl living in poverty. And you're like, God damn it, Victoria, why did you recommend this stupid ass book?
And I told you. Sorry. Yeah.
It was just, and then, yeah, it just,
Awful.
It's
brutal, and it keeps being brutal. But then there's also this like little glimmer of hope
I swear to God, if you hit my desk
at each
one more
chapter
time.
that like keeps you moving forward, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. I mean, okay, what would we tell our friend about this book? Like, what would we break down for them and say, like, here's what you need to know? Because I mean, does somebody want to take this?
All right, so let's start here. So if we're looking objectively at this story, the big major things that are happening are, you have the town that this slum is in, that everybody's in. This town it's not a very strong fortressy town. It's constantly being, just like the guilds are against each other in the slums, we have cities that are against each other out in the world. Okay, so we're seeing this micro scale to this macro scale. Same thing with the macro scale. This is not the strongest guild. Like, just like Azoth is not part of the strongest guild, and he's not the strongest person in it, so is the city that they're all set in. And other cities are vying for power that are around them. And most of them, the Caladoran, I don't know, city, state, whatever you want to call it, but the Caladorans.
Kingdoms, so there's like these different kingdoms.
Yeah, kingdoms.
That
kingdom
is more land and power.
Yeah, and so they're trying to come against this city. And the only reason this city survives is because they have the Sakaj. How do you say that? Sakaj?
No, it's Sakage.
Yeah.
Sakage. So the Sakage is the leadership of all the criminal activity in this town, and that's what keeps the town going, right? So, and they're made up of like a group of people, just like a kingdom. It's a kingdom within a kingdom, but this is the criminal. Well, aren't all kingdoms criminal? We just were talking about the potato famine. Come on. But anyway,
I was gonna say, I mean, there's a dark side to every
yeah, and a light side. It does good things and bad things.
Correct.
So basically, the Sakage is something feared by everybody who's in this town, but it's also something everybody needs because it's keeping this town safe from these outside kingdoms that are trying to come in. Then what we're dealing with, instead of brute force, all that we're dealing with is, it's like a chess match, and it's psychological. There's a lot of espionage, spy activity going on. We got the assassins. They're not called assassins in this book. They're called wet boys. They do have assassins. There's a clear distinction between the two. So we're following this line of how can this town, this kingdom that's very weak, has a weak king, it's ruled mainly by criminals. How are we going to keep this kingdom going? Can we keep it going? While other outside kingdoms that are far stronger and have far more magical abilities and powers, how are we going to keep it going? Like, how are we going to defend ourselves? And so that's what you're set into. And then on the smaller scale, Azoth is asking himself, how am I going to be able to defend against all of these outside evil forces, not only the guild, but just life, eating, sickness? How am I going to defend myself against all these? How am I going to become strong and not just fear every moment of my life, and be able to help this little girl who they call Dog Girl, be able to help Jarl, is it Jarl? Is that how they say the name? And
yep.
How am I going to help my friends and help myself? And his answer, the only answer that he can come to is, I need to get strong and powerful. And Durzo Blint, considered the best wet boy in the city,
And
he's the guy who could help me. He's feared by everyone. If I could just apprentice with someone like that, I could become strong enough to be able to help myself and my friends and be safe. And
not fear.
The story kicks off from there. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
What we're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah. I know, and what's crazy is, like, that's his best person to look up to. Like, that's just crazy to think about, right?
Yeah.
So that's his idol that he. That's what he.
Yeah, because it's constant.
What could we relate it to on a modern scale? Who would we look up to? Like, if I could just be that person, my life would be better. Imagine looking at somebody who's like, I don't know, the highest, yes. Not even, it's not sanctioned like that. It's like a criminal
It kind
group.
of is, though. It's like a.
Kind of, yeah. Because they're principled. He's principled. Wet boys have to be principled.
Well, I mean, even the kingdom hires him.
Right, exactly. So it's like, it's like a contract killer, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
if I could be as good as this mercenary, then I
honestly,
would be doing all right.
it'd be like honestly,
Poor asshole.
it'd be like James Bond, looking up to James Bond.
He also works for the government, though.
Exactly.
But he won't work for the King. Durzo won't. He works for the Sakage.
Yeah. But that's what it'd be like. It'd be like looking up to a James Bond type character.
Yeah, someone who is just, well, dirtier than James Bond. James Bond's kind of like
it's not modern
high flying and
times.
stuff. Yeah, no. Definitely like Assassin's Creed like, but anyway.
And
Someone else want to go from there? Do we need to explain more? Yeah.
I was just going to say, Azoth goes into this. So Azoth looks up to Durzo Blint and then wants to become his apprentice and has to do something to become that apprentice. And you just think as soon as you hear this guy wants to be an assassin, and instantly you're going, oh, well, this is a tragedy story. Because what assassin is ever going to be happy? What assassin, what do we know about assassins, right? What do we know about James Bond? Let's look at James Bond. He's always alone. He can never find love. He doesn't know who he can trust. It's just a terrible, terrible life. But that's what this kid will sacrifice to get out of basically receiving beatings all the time, not knowing where his food's going to come from, never being able to have new clothes, having friends around him that are going to get beaten, raped, die. So
yep.
It's just, like, I get why he has to do this, but that it's not going to lead to his happiness. That's how I went into it, of just knowing this is going to be a tragedy story.
right. Well, and we haven't even mentioned magic that's involved. That creates a fantasy. So that's even cool. I can't wait to learn more about that as we get further into the books, but how that works and the people that were chosen way in the past to carry this magic and the light and the dark. It's really good.
It was. You know what I like too?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna. Yeah, you say that, Frank. Then I'll say mine.
You say yours. Mine's off topic.
Well, what's really cool about it is, so I don't give anything away. I'll just kind of explain. It's kind of like Dragon Balls. There are like 7. There are these 7 balls, and
hey, what are you telling us? Why are you telling us? I don't know any of this stuff.
What?
I don't know any of this stuff, so why don't you shush it?
What stuff?
The 7 balls.
Did you read the book?
Yeah, I read the whole thing. Well, I listened to the whole thing.
He talks about how 7 people were
the Kakari.
Oh, yeah.
Like what the whole story's about. It's like, there are 7 balls. What are you reading?
You're right.
Wait a second.
You're right.
Anyway, so there are these 7 globes. And they're all different colors. And there's a white and a black. And they deliver some sort of power depending on which color they are. They deliver a different power to the user and they bond to the user. Okay. But they've been missing forever. It makes you immortal. And it also makes you have whatever power. So like the red one is like, you'll have this fire power. You know what I mean? So different, and we don't know much about them from the first book. We know a little bit, but they basically bond to the user and they will, once they do, which is their choice, the magic is sentient to a degree and it bonds together and they become symbiotic, right? The only time that power can be given to somebody else is if that person it's bonded with dies. So that's all we know from this point right now about these globes. We know that a lot of them are missing. You can't, and people that have them wouldn't want you to know that they have them because of the power it gives, and because then their life is basically in danger because someone's going to try to kill them to get it. So these are spread out over these kingdoms. We don't know where all of them are, if maybe one person is keeping them, but they haven't bonded because they choose to bond. So someone could hold on to it for years and years and years and years and could never bond to anybody in their family or friends or anything because it chooses when to bond. So they could all be together, or they could be spread out. They could be bonded to people, they could not be. That's the power that we're trying to figure out throughout this whole book. Who has it? Who's gonna end up with it? Because it's terrifying. These are ancient, and they were created by what are they called? By a mage, a great mage.
Yeah.
And because there are differences between the female mages and the male mages in this book, they do different things with their power. But like hundreds of years ago, they were created and they were given to specific people. But since it's been hundreds of years, and since it puts your life on the line, where are they? Who has them now? Big question. And we do have one of them show up in this book, and it has a bunch of effects, both good and bad. We won't tell you, I guess, who ends up with it, but it's a roller coaster.
It is.
I'll tell you that. Pretty cool.
It is.
And someone else talk about the other magic we discover, because there's other kingdoms and they have different kinds of magic.
I can't remember all of them. How many different kingdoms are there? Is there 7 different kingdoms?
I don't know that it says. I don't know that it says 7 kingdoms. But what I will say
at the beginning it says Scenaria,
Calador,
there's an L one, I think.
Listerine.
They're the Sethies. There are, because it says in the beginning, he says it when he's describing the architecture, Ladeshian or Ladesh or something. There's a bunch of different ones. It's literally right in the front of the book.
What I will say though
when
is
he's talking about architecture.
Go ahead, Frank.
Go on, Frank.
the different magic. So there's different magic schools. So it's like almost like the different Hogwarts.
Yeah.
But they teach specific magic. So there's this one character that went and learned. Oh man, he went and learned like, what was the first magic he learned? Dang it. It was something like water or something, or like lightning or some crap.
And he learned fire.
Then he went to fire, and it was so weird because normally
Solon.
Normally people take to one type of magic, but this guy could learn it. But he didn't even want to learn the magic because he just wanted to go to, basically he was like going to college with his friends. He was like, oh, you guys are going, so I'll go to hang out and chill. But he still was so smart that he picked it up, and they actually picked up two different types of magic. But this dude is in here as well. The thing that, do you want to tell us your kingdoms, Victoria?
No, I want you to put up the map that's in the beginning.
Okay.
You have Ladesh down here. Yeah.
I'll put that up.
There are more than 7, it looks like, though.
Yeah, I didn't think they said just 7. Like, I didn't think they said specifically there's 7.
Right.
Oh, what I was gonna say was what I liked was that Brent has very different characters from one another, and so you're gonna see we come into this story, and this kingdom called Scenaria is right at a changing of the royalty because the king has died, and we're figuring out who should be king. And there's a good person that nobody thinks should be king, and there's a noble person that everybody thinks should be king. And we get to see the differences between these two characters and why one deserves to be king and why one definitely doesn't deserve to be king. And then even his right hand, the good guy's right hand man, is such a noble person that you're just like, I don't want to give anything away.
You're just rooting for these people.
Yeah.
You're invested. You're rooting for them. You're like, come on, we can do this.
Yeah.
But a lot of bad things happen to them.
Dude,
the thing that
it's
Brent
like Game of Thrones.
does. Well, yeah, the thing that Brent does is he doesn't pull punches at the good people. He does not pull punches at all. A ton of bad stuff happens to them in this book. People that are so good, like they're just, all they want is to do good things. And Brent will just hit them over and over and over again. He does not pull punches, because a lot of times in a lot of books, you have your your protagonist and they're a genuinely good person, and then it's not interesting because they're already a good person and they're trying to achieve all of this, and they have like little problems. Brent makes them have the biggest problems in the freaking world, and awful things happen to them where they have to like survive it, and it's going to get worse in the second book. We're going to have even more awful things happen that you think, how is this person going to maintain their goodness? And once you guys get to that point, I'm sorry, you're going to question it and you're going to feel bad inside your heart a little bit, but it's okay. Anyway,
I swear to God, if I quit work, I'm quitting the
you're
podcast.
Gonna cry. Sorry.
Down.
Don't say swear to God. Don't say swear to God and then say something that's not true. So then, yes, I did just tell you, and I'm gonna say it again. Anyway, but Brent, that's the wonderful thing about this writer, is that he doesn't coddle you.
Oh.
He doesn't coddle you, but he makes it so you have this, like Danielle said at the beginning, there's this glimmer of hope that we're following. And the reason why it's so connective, and I think why I connected to it so much too, is that you see that glimmer of hope way over there. You know your own heart, and you know the hearts of these characters, right? So it's like, you know your own heart, and you see that glimmer of hope, and all of this crap just keeps falling on you. So what this book does is it makes you believe, like, no matter what happens, if I just keep going, it will get better. And that's a great sentiment to give to your readers. It's like, yeah, life may suck really bad. Look at these characters' lives. And they keep going. And you know what I mean? You can be inspired by them. You can actually feel like, yeah, they actually are dealing with really hard things that how would you get up and keep going? But they do. They keep getting up and they keep going and they keep their goodness throughout all of it. And it's just, that's inspiring. And that's what Brent does for you. So although you might cry, although you might want to lay down and be like, I hate this, you will keep reading, just like you will keep getting up and you will keep trying in your life, no matter what it throws at you.
The easiest way to dispute that, though, is to just say, well, they're fictional. So I'm just saying. But honestly, I agree with you.
Frank tries to stab the reason for reading right in the heart. He's like,
hope.
You know what? I'm going to stab the reason for reading in the heart. We'll never experience these things, but it's good to know that maybe we could, and maybe stretch our minds a little bit. And Frank's like, no!
Not if I'm crying.
We shouldn't do that.
Honestly, though, it's absolutely true, because it does it puts your life into perspective. Like, listen, there's people that live like this out there or something similar to, and I have nothing like this at all. I'm very privileged in my life. But to read about it makes you just feel human. It makes you feel those emotions. Like, I am a huge believer in every once in a while, you just got to have a nice cry, get it out, be sad, have a couple hours, whatever it is, because we know that the human experience is very difficult. And obviously, like I said, man, mine hasn't been that difficult compared to others. And this book puts that into perspective of saying, like, dude, this is the brutality. Yeah, Victoria, God, stop saying that. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Why did we read this? You know what? Maybe
my emotional.
I'm putting up my guard. Victoria, you will go on. You will get a strike against you. 3 strikes. You're out for a week of picking books. You don't get to pick the next series. So
you don't get skipped.
Yeah, you'll get skipped. We'll literally, for your series, we'll literally just read Don Quixote. How about that? We'll read that.
Don't.
If you make us cry at work, I swear.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just made up a plan in my mind. If I had to read that book, I had to, because I'm like, what if I do go to prison? And someone follows my rules and they're like, now you will read Don Quixote for the rest of your life. I'm like,
that's hell. Dude, if there is a hell and for whatever reason you end up there, that would be your hell. You have to read.
I know, but I've made a plan.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I will rewrite and edit Don Quixote for the rest of my life.
You just have to read it. You just have to read it. You have no choice.
No, I will. I'll keep it in my mind. That'll be my mind palace. My mind palace. I'll just be like,
they got
this
control
never
over
happened.
it. Lilith has control over your brain.
Over it.
And they just go, you have to keep reading it. You close your eyes, guess what? The pages appear before them.
Frank, that would be a bad thing for them to ask me to do. Because I feel like the amount of rage I would feel in my body would make me more powerful than my captors. I'd be like, Here it comes.
No, we're talking about supernatural beings here, okay? We're talking about
I know.
demons.
I thought supernatural beings.
I used to call my weekly ritual a supernatural beating.
You know it's gonna
It's my
be.
self-care.
You know it's
Self-care.
gonna be because he gets this little smirk on his face.
He's like
smirk. It's like
Yeah, it's the Futurama when or is it Futurama? No, it's Rick and Morty when he gets like the little lips. You know, the little lip thing that he does that they have on Rick and Morty, and it like hangs down kind of like a fish's. No, don't know. Okay, never mind. Well, let's move on.
Insert a clip, Frank. Let's get sued.
Yes. No, you can show little tiny bits. That's okay. You can show like 10 seconds or less or something. Or if you stop it, you could literally, I think, watch a full-length film if you were to stop it enough and comment over it. So it'd have to end up being like a 4 to 6 hour podcast where you're talking about and breaking stuff down. So you could do that, I think. You just have to change it enough and for fair use. Now, obviously, we're not going to do that. I'm just saying.
But now you know, everybody.
Now
Someone talk about the ver. Is that what they call it? Is that how they say it? Ver?
I don't know what you're talking about. Describe what it is.
The magic on the arms. The
Oh.
ver.
Oh, like the magic tattoos.
Yeah, I forgot how they said it. I don't think it was Ver though.
What movie is
Fire.
that where they have tattoos that
It's-
transform?
I know the book series with the Nephilim had it. The City of Angels and whatnot.
City of and they made a movie. There's a movie.
There's a movie about that?
Yeah, there's a movie. Look it up, Frank.
City of Angels? Why have I not seen it?
City.
I think it
I
might be a
don't know.
series.
No, there's a movie. It's called. Gosh.
That's not it. That's that's Nicolas Cage. It's a romantic movie, City of Angels. Hold on, let me do this.
It's not called City of Angels, but
No.
Based on book. Wings of Desire.
no, that's not it.
Nope, that's not it.
Who? I can't remember the actress. I can see her. I just can't remember what her name is. She was in a movie recently
Wait,
with Zac
isn't it
Efron.
called City of Angels?
No, it's
I don't think so. No.
Bones. City of Bones.
Yeah, City of Bones. Bone. Let's
They
just wait
did
for Frank to
make a
come in with
movie.
some. There you go. There's.
Oh
the
my
movie.
gosh,
You found it.
it's Emily from Paris.
Yes.
Was this a movie?
Yeah, fantasy film. Did anybody see it?
I did.
Oh wow. Reboot television. Okay, so this movie came out in 2013. I don't know how I never heard of it. Then they were going to do a second movie called City of Ashes, but instantly they canceled it because this movie released terribly. And then they did a reboot television series called Shadowhunters that premiered in 2016 and ran for 3 seasons. It did go on Freeform though, so
Look at Shadowhunters.
no.
Who's the main chick in this? Because I feel like this is
Catherine McNamara.
Yeah, that's what I. Okay, good. I can see.
Wow.
I think it's on Netflix.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. So yeah, there are tattoos on the magical people's bodies, and when they use the magic, you see the tattoo, and sometimes the lines will like not really appear to be there, but then as they're using it, it becomes more black, but even sometimes it like comes off their body even. It's like it's almost another being that it's kind of like what Victoria was talking about with the Sakare, where it's a symbiotic relationship that is
Sakari, like Kakari.
Kakari,
Sicario.
Sigourney,
He's doing that today. Don
Winarni.
Capote.
whatever they are. Those things like absorb into their body and almost become. It's almost like that. It's
a phantom piece of the body.
yeah.
It's weird, but well, I think so if we had the real world where they are using the magic and they have the tattoos on their body, the magical world that's behind the tattoos and everything that you can't see, I think that is a whole creature. Whoever uses that magic, I think it's almost like tendrils to each person, but I think it's the same creature behind all of them. Because if you read in the last part where Nef Data is can I not give away what I'm
Yeah, I almost feel like, are you giving
Nef
away
Data,
what's coming up? You
no,
son
no,
of a...
no. There's a guy named Nef Data who you only experience in the end of the book.
Yeah, he's
but
a
anyway,
mage.
all of them start using their mage powers near him, and the way he's explaining it, it's like if someone else is using it, they can feel it, especially if they're close. And it made it sound like there's one creature, almost like a primordial creature that has all of this power, and they're drawing from it. Because the people who use and have those tattoos, the more they use them, the more evil they get. So it transforms you. So if you don't want to, you don't have to be evil, even if you have access to that power. But the more you use it, it's like coming to the dark side. The more that it's going to pull you to the dark side. Because we do have a character in the book who can use them, but chooses not to because he wants to be a better person. And so it's like, I think it's, yeah, coming from some primordial creature, almost like in Lord of the Rings, how Gandalf says that they dug too deep and they woke up this creature. It's almost like that, like it's a primordial old
there's just a
creature with magic
to use the magic, and it's not just this kind of mage or whatever they are. It's all of them, because there's another character that, you know, the more he uses his ability, he's going to start losing his mind. And that's the good person. Yeah, that's the good person. So it's like each of them are choosing how they use their magic and at what cost they're willing to give to use magic. All of them make that choice. But
not all of them can have that type.
No. It just whatever type of magic they're using. There's a cost to it. And
he is. You don't know that he's a part of them?
No, I know. I'm just saying. That for each type of magic, there's a cost they're paying to use the magic.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever seen? When they show Harry Potter, but they replace all the wands with guns. It's so funny.
It's terrible.
No, it's funny. It's so funny. Because like Hermione, there's this one part, Danielle, where Hermione, here, I'll show you.
Victoria's losing it.
Check this out.
I just thought of like the fucking scene where Harry and Draco are in the bathrooms. It's you're like, fuck. God.
Ready?
Gandalf has like an AK because his guns are better.
That's what I wanted you to see. It's when Hermione shoots Neville, or shoots Dudley. So good. But anyway, that's the magic I'm in for. Nothing to do with the book. So yeah, it's a good book.
So yeah,
it is a good book. But I wanted to talk about the magic, the different kinds of magic that we know there are two types so far, right? We know the Ver and we know the Kakari. Is that all the magic that we know?
I don't know. I thought there was. I didn't know. I don't know.
I mean,
I was going to ask you guys, have you guys encountered the wolf yet?
What are you talking about?
So
in
you
the
haven't.
book?
Okay. Yeah.
No, I have not.
It's mentioned once. Kylar says a wolf watching him. It's a really small sentence.
Yeah.
And it has huge consequences later into the second and the third book.
Oh.
The wolf is tied to...
Okay.
The wolf is telling the story. They say that. You know that.
Oh, wait. No, he has a conversation with the wolf.
Yes.
Okay, so we have to cut all this because this is end piece. Okay, Danielle, you finished the book?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, stop telling us stuff.
I just want you to know that.
Shut your nice little mouth. How about that?
I need you to know that.
No,
You
need
gotta
to shut
wait. You gotta
your
wait 3
trap.
I want to know.
wait,
I know. I
let's
know
talk
something
about
really bad.
next week. I'm just thinking Sunday might be affected.
Okay, hey, how about let's end the podcast first and then we can talk about it. So, great book. Fantastic read. We're at book 1. You're going to cry if you read it. Apologies. You know what? I'm not apologizing. Victoria can apologize. We're reading book number 2 next week, which is called something like Shadow's End or some bullshit.
Oh my god.
It's good. The next book is Shadow's Edge.
Shadow's Edge.
But you need to pull up the back and read the back of the next book for them.
Shadow's
And we also
Edge.
need to do a couple reviews.
It's called Shadow's Edge, yeah?
The reviews.
Oh my gosh.
We're not on a game today.
Dude, I am very good at a British accent. Very good.
And yeah, we're not describing things. Like nobody wants to describe things. Go like bounce off each other. Say, what else? You're like, I don't know. I don't have feelings.
It depressed
I
us
can't
and
deal with this.
we all shut down emotionally.
Yeah, that's what I think. I know what
Uh,
happens in there.
how thin can you make your lips?
Frank!
I'm gonna
Why would
play
you?
playful mode. I just want to fuck around. Back of the book, Shadow's Edge.
Can you make your lips? We're like, it's like.
We're not on our game today.
Do that.
guys.
That's what
Sorry.
you need to do. You need to do that in an elevator.
Yeah.
Just turn to the person next to you. How thin can you make your lips? They're like, and you're like,
Thinner, make them thinner. What are we doing with our
like,
lives?
I'm trying. You're like, anyway, see you later. It's the weirdest experience in their life.
Shadow's Edge.
I think about doing shit like that in the elevator or in anywhere. I'm walking. I'm in my car. It doesn't matter. And I'm just pissing myself laughing. And people are like, she is literally insane. I'm like, it's really good in my head. It's awesome in here. It's hilarious. It is.
Okay.
Okay.
So,
It'd be
Back
sick
of
to
the
put a fog machine in an elevator. And then as it opens, just walk out. It'd be expensive because you'd lose a lot of fog machines, but it'd be worth it.
You have to walk away. You can't go
You
back
can't
for
go
the
back.
fucking machine. But you need like a little boombox along with the fog machine, so it looks like you're like WWE style entering the office.
Yeah.
You're like, and it's John Cena, and you're like, da-da-da-da-da. You're like, why does he always do that? You're like, because it's badass.
Dude, if I was a billionaire, can you imagine if I just made that my habit every day when I show up to work?
wouldn't be good if you were.
I would go to work simply for that, then I'd immediately leave.
Just leave.
I
would just show up at
No,
random offices. That's what I would do.
Exactly.
The best thing would be that there are more than one elevator, right?
Yeah.
And so you put the fog machines in all of them, and no one knows which one you're gonna step out of. And sometimes you don't even like take
You
the
have to
elevator.
get people
The
to,
fog
like-
machines go off, and everybody's like looking around, and then you just like you're at your desk already, and they're like, Why did they do this? You're like,
You have to get
it's
security
hilarious.
to help you. Like, can you just run in the elevator and press this floor and run out? Just run in
Yeah.
and run out.
Be right back.
I would be arrested immediately. Is what would happen. I would just
It
be.
would have to be your company. You'd have to.
I'd have to start a company just so I could put a fog machine in the elevator.
You could do that
all the time.
I mean,
why are there 6 elevators coming to this floor? You'll find out.
2 floors.
and no one can use the elevator.
Use the elevators.
Stairs only.
There's 4 elevators.
Actually, it's just 2 floors. It's a 2-story building. I installed the escalator so people don't have to walk upstairs, plus stairs, but then 6 elevators that no one can use. That all lead to the middle of the office.
Our energy bill is extremely high.
And our dry ice budget is extremely high.
Why is like the accountant? Why is dry ice? Why do you always buy it? Like there's some things we do at my company that you don't do. That if you did do, you would enjoy your life more. That's why. It's like that's not even an answer. You're like, come to the office.
Then I would make it a policy where everybody has to be flashbanged at least once by a real flashbang.
That's the see what I love about it though is like just the paperwork alone when you're hiring someone, because they have to know.
Yeah.
And so they can read about it and they're like there's a seizure warning, and they're reading it like what. Like, no, you need to actually read that. We've made it really condensed on one page. All of these things must, you can't be allergic to dry ice. They're like, what is this fucking, you can't be alarmed at loud music randomly anytime, literally, that you're in the office. Loud music could occur.
You're like, I thought this
Don't
was
be
a
scared.
giving foundation. What is
It
this?
is.
Yeah, you're like, it is, and it's really fun. It's great to work here. It's just unpredictable. Not the job. You'll keep the job because we don't really do anything here. But
We just give away money.
we just spend money.
But then we also blow money too. That'd be sick.
Yeah.
So anyway, book number 2, Shadow's Edge. Well, this is just giving away book 1. So
Maybe we shouldn't read it. We should read the back.
We should read this at the beginning of the next podcast.
Okay.
yes. So I mean, if you're interested,
Bring
in
up
book
the
1,
reviews, you guys. I'm sorry. I have to pee really bad. I'll be right back. Really bad. Why did I say it like that? Be right back.
We don't know.
Yeah. What?
We don't question.
This person says for the review, Victoria, that it's not like Assassin's Creed because they have too many crises of conscience.
And Assassin's Creed doesn't.
Apparently not. Maybe he's talking about the movie. I never saw it. Great series. Best fantasy series I've read in a while. Did enjoy this book, although it didn't grip me like others that I have read. Did like the character development. Victoria was key on that. Assassin's book falls short. This guy didn't like the plot twists and secrets because there's lots of secrets. But then they didn't finish the book. This person says imaginative and fun read. Simple premise well executed. That's true. This person says beginning of the best trilogy of the past few years. And says they talked about some other book series or something. This novel sets the stage for a trilogy that adds an astoundingly intellectual moral dimension that is so bitingly real that it transcends the story to apply itself directly to the world that we live in today and the truth of our own humanity. And I think that sums it up.
Yeah.
It's
real stuff. That's all I'm saying is it's just you're like this. You can't even say that he has a twisted mind. You're just like all of this stuff happens.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But it got good reviews. It got a 4.6 out of 5. 71% gave it a 5-star. 20% gave it 4. That's 91%.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really good. Sad.
So sad.
It's sad. If you've had a tragic life and it's gotten better, because like I said before, you either die trying to make your life better or your life gets better. That's all you can do. That's all we all do. So this book You will relate with it. You will be like, yep, tragedy happens, and you figure it out, or you don't. And what's that path look like, you know? So I do highly recommend the book. It helped me through some dark times, so
yeah,
it might help you.
Yeah. So true. So read it, and thank you everybody for listening. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Please come back next week
for Shadow's Edge.
If you want to read. If you already did read this book, we hope to see you next week after reading the second book, because it's going to get crazier. It's going to get better. You guys are going to love it.
Yeah. So let us know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe, please, if you enjoy it, or if you don't. Even if you don't, hate watch. I don't care.
I don't want you to hate watch.
Go
watch something. If you hate this, go watch something that makes you happy, brings you joy. Yeah, sparks joy in your heart.
Or porn, either one.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.